you just don't even recognize the old version of like your own band or the other bands around, and it's just like it's just crazy to see how good everyone gets at like writing songs, even if you already thought they were really good before. And I think it's just like really cool to see that kind of thing.
Boston's Gollylagging has spent years sharpening a sound that blends shoegaze fuzz with alt country and bedroom pop sensibilities. And following their 2024 EP Dry Rot, the quartet is entering a new era with their latest single Jackknife, which came out on May 26th. Recently, I sat down with Jake, Andrew, and Joey to discuss the painstaking process of revising their new sound, their deep collaborative roots in the New England circuit, and the full-length album they now have on the horizon. At the time of this recording, your second single of the year comes out in just a couple weeks, and it's going to follow Bronco, which came out in January, I believe. So how would you compare these two songs to each other? Are they similar thematically or just very different, somewhere in the middle?
I think they're pretty different. I think like at least sonically, we've like always opted to do like really blown out, really fuzzy songs. And I've this is like one of the first ones we tried where there's really nothing like that. Like obviously there's like loud guitars and everything, but there's no like it's just kind of like super like mid-range, super like pop structure
Mm.
and everything. So I think sonically it's different. Thematically they're not really about the same things, but yeah, I think it was kind of like an experiment to try to write something different, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Jackknife is what it's called. I don't think I mentioned that earlier. I was reading that it's mainly about like a friendship falling apart. So did the writing of this song have a sort of cathartic effect? Like, did it help to process things, or was it more of like a difficult process to get through?
At first it kind of started that way. It's like it kind of feel like catharsis, but it was a good way to kind of be like, okay, well, like how much of this is like my fault? Is it all like just on this other person, or is it like kind of both of us? And it's not really like there's actually like no fault to be had. Like maybe
Mm.
it's more of like a neutral, like, gray area type thing. It's not always just like someone's fault.
Musically, did it come together similarly, or was that just lyrics wise?
I think that was mostly like the lyric like content of it. Like I had the riff idea for a little bit, like the main riff, and then we were kind of like we just added Jules. Jules is our guitar player who couldn't make it. So we added him at one point and we were kind of working on this song. He was like, "Oh, maybe we should like do like kind of like a bridge." And for the longest time it was just verse, chorus, and then the bridge, and that was the end of the song. And then we had another one of our friends, his name's Harrison, and he was like, "You guys really should just add on like another verse chorus or something like that. It's like it sounds like weird." So so we it actually came together from someone who's like not even in the band, and he was like, "You should just make it longer." And so that's kind of how like the instrumentation finished way later than when we started it.
Mm.
And I feel like right when we did that last part, everyone was immediately like, yeah, it's like it made it way better.
Yeah. When we
Not
used
that
to
it
play
was-
it live, it was like the original version. I look back on that and I'm like, yeah, that we had to add it. We had to add on to it. It was just so much better, you know?
It's good to get that candid feedback from friends sometimes. Sometimes you need that, the tough love, you know?
Yeah.
True.
That's sort of reminding me, I was reading too, that like the recording process for the song was also apparently pretty intense. It was like a shorter session and then just like many revisions after that. Am I on the right track?
Yeah. We actually recorded it in the same session as Bronco,
Okay.
which was like, at this point, probably like in November of 2024.
Oh, wow.
So a while ago. But we ended up like not being happy with the initial recording. And we were just like, let's just do it again. And we were going to do it again. And we wanted to get like a full day at the studio, which is like 12, 13 hours to just like really lock in, but they only had one session available, so we could only be there for 6 hours. So we had to do like the whole song in 6 hours, which at the time we were like, yeah, that's totally doable. And it's obviously it was doable.
Sorry, my dog is whining. I don't know if you can hear.
But it was hard. I think it was, and now we look back on that and we're like, why did we do that? Like we needed more time. But I think then we ironed it out in the post production with our mixing engineer Rowan. Like he just helped us a lot. We just went through a lot of revisions on it because we just wanted it to be like in the right place, and like I think we got there in the end. But it was kind of I went through two whole. It was the first time we've ever done that where we like recorded something and we're like we could do it again. So yeah.
What do you think was like the hardest piece of it to get right, and like it's like a lesson learned that you might carry with you for a future session?
I think the guitars was the hardest part because there's actually three guitar parts on the song, and I feel like it's hard to kind of get all those tones right and have them sit in the mix the right way. And there's just like also a lot of like vocals and like yeah, it was just like so much stuff really. So it's like hard to get that all to sit right, I feel like. And we we re-recorded the guitars at home too. So we recorded the guitars like 3 times. And yeah, it's just I think that is mostly the problem like making it. And I think the thing that we learned was that like definitely don't rush. Even if it's just one song, it's like I don't know, I feel like it's just way better to take your time on it, especially if you're spending the money on the day.
You mentioned adding Jules, and you guys split vocals. It was the first time you've done that, right?
Yeah, that's for like the record. He does sing on
Okay.
this song too. I think he sang on the last EP, but as far as like the record goes, like he has like half the songs and I have half.
I mean, what was that like, and how did you land on the right balance for the record?
He was gonna start his own project on the side, and we had a couple practices, and Andrew and I loved the songs. And at a certain point, we just like stopped practicing. We never played a show. He never recorded any of them really, besides like the demos. And we were just kind of like, "What's up with those songs that you had?" And he was like, "Oh, I don't really know." So we were like, "You want to just put them on our record?" And he kept just like showing us more, and we were like, "Can we just have all of these?" And then I think when we were putting the record together, I think I had about 4, and I was like, we should just split it half and half, so then we don't have to. We can just it's like done already. But yeah, we just thought of songs that were really good, and it would be a shame if like he never put them out.
Do you think your sound has gone through a little bit of an evolution then in that sense, if he had more of a part in the writing?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I feel like we usually have different tastes by the time we like release every next thing. So we kind of started out as like an emo punky thing, and then we kind of transitioned more into like an alt rock thing. And I guess we're like still on that kind of wave, but it's definitely a lot like lighter and catchier than when we started. And I think that he's really into that kind of thing too. Like he really helped us be the kind of band that we want, I would say.
I mean, let's say if someone's like talking to you at a party, they don't know you, they find out you're in a band. Is that how you would describe the music you play to like a stranger, or would you, I don't know, dumb it down, put it into like, I was curious how would that like.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I was literally doing this last night because you just never know like what someone knows or like what they care about. So I usually just like simply I usually just go like it's just kind of indie rock, and it's like fuzzy and it's noisy. That's usually how I go with it. And then if someone's like asked for a comparison, like oh god, I guess it just depends on like what they know. The easy one for like adults is like Smashing Pumpkins. Usually they know like Smashing Pumpkins or something.
That's a good
Yeah. But I mean, so if they're a little bit more tapped in, I'd try to say Dinosaur Jr. because that's what I truly feel.
I think I always will be like, yeah, it's like a 90s like alternative rock thing. And then I feel like people always be like, oh, it's like Green Day. And I'm like, not like entirely, but I guess that's not like the worst reference point,
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like, you say like Smashing Pumpkins or like even early Weezer, people will get that. But I think the goal, or like even with Jules' songs and Jake's songs, like all the songs on the album are just like, they're kind of like quick in and out, catchy, like fun rock songs, which I think is like just something that we wanted to tap into because that's the type of rock music that we like. So yeah.
All right.
I feel like it's one of those things where it's like, you know it like when you hear it, but it's almost like hard to describe, you know?
No, that's why like I was thinking about that question because I'm like, I mean, a lot of bands don't necessarily love labels to begin with, and then having it must be just like a chore to describe it to other people. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's tough because we're definitely like that. Like, because like we sometimes get pigeonholed into one thing or the other, and I don't know. It does kind of suck because it's like then everything that comes your way is kind of like in this one lane. It's like I don't know. I just kind of want to be able to do whatever if I'm excited about it.
yeah,
Yeah, I feel like I always say a different thing depending on just like how we're feeling at the time.
Depending on whatever that person likes, we're just pandering to them.
Yeah, just say what's up.
It sounds like that.
like what's your favorite band?
Yeah, yeah, it's exactly like that.
Yeah, it's like describing your music taste almost. It's just hard.
Yeah.
Okay, but you guys have been for a few years now. You've been like playing sort of the bar DIY circuit, really like across the Northeast, and you've been an opener. You're from Boston originally, so do you feel a strong connection to your environment, to being from Boston?
I really do feel like it kind of shows that we're like a Boston band, and I do feel like we're really connected to it because like I feel like kind of the thing in Boston, I guess it's kind of everywhere now, but definitely for a while in Boston, it's been like kind of like the loud, noisy indie rock thing. And we got a write up recently about Bronco, and when he wrote the article for us, he compared us to other Boston bands like Dinosaur Jr. and Pile. And that's just like really cool. That's kind of like been a thing for a while. That's like the through line is like the loud, noisy
Mm.
thing. Um, so I definitely feel like that's kind of like that kind of shows.
Yeah, I also think that all of the bands from around here that we're like friends with and like play shows with and hang out with are just like they're just really good, and I feel like a lot of people here are like tapped into just writing good songs and like making good rock music. I mean, I'm sure it's like that in other places too, but just I can only speak for the bands in our area, and I really like them. And obviously, there's kind of like a legion of indie rock bands that Jake was talking about from Boston in the past. So I think it's a good place to be.
And speaking of which, you guys are playing a show in Boston in June with Dino Gala, who's like a band that you guys have had sort of a long-standing friendship with. You shared an EP with them back in 2023. So how has your relationship with these other Boston bands evolved as you've sort of all grown together in the scene?
It's so interesting to be like, because we started this in, I think it was 2020 or 2021, and it just feels like everyone changes so much from
Mm.
like within 5 years. You just don't even recognize the old version of like your own band or the other bands around, and it's just crazy to see like how good everyone gets at like writing songs, even if you already thought they were really good before. I think that's like really awesome, and I feel like I like Andrew. I like all these bands, and I truly like believe in like how talented they are, and I think it's just like really cool to see that kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's been cool to like see everybody grow together, like musically and just like as friends and people. It's just cool. In the past, like we've had like members of Dino Gal like fill in for us when we were like missing a bass player and stuff. So it's kind of cool to just have like all that like collaborative energy.
Nice. I'll ask one more question here. It was going to be sort of about the future a little bit, but I know you guys already sort of hinted at an album. So you've had a couple EPs at this point, an album at some point in the near future, I'm guessing. So what else can you say about like what's in store for the future? And then maybe is there any more you can say about the album?
We can say we can say that we're working on it.
Okay.
I think we can say that we're working on it. So new music, hopefully a lot more shows soon. And that might be all we know. That might be all we know
Fair
for
enough.
now. Anyone have anything to add?
I mean, we're working on it. It's going to be finished, I think, pretty soon, and then get it out into the world as soon as we can, I guess.
That's exciting. Any like tentative plans to go on tour or anything like that?
Yeah, I think next once it comes out,
Okay.
we're
Yeah.
still like nailing the date down. I think we have like the time of year, but after that, I think we'd like definitely want to hit it and just play a bunch of shows because we haven't done like a real kind of like long tour since the last EP came out. So it's been about by the time the album comes out, it'll have been about like 2 years. So it's time, and I'd like to. So yeah.
All right. Any parting thoughts, like as people sort of get ready to hear your new single in a couple weeks?
I guess I hope that they enjoy. It's like a new, like I said before, like it's kind of a new thing. Like we've been playing the song for a while, but it's definitely like a pivot in a way. And it's one of our favorite songs, and yeah, I hope that other people can also, feel that way about it.
Agreed.
The song is Jackknife, the latest single from Boston's Gollylagging that came out May 26th. Go check it out if you haven't heard it already, and keep an eye out for their upcoming album, and who knows, maybe another tour as well. For more interviews with other cool bands, visit youngsteryear.com, follow this project on Instagram @youngsteryear, and listen to these interviews anywhere podcasts are available. That's all for now. Hope you enjoyed, and thank you for listening.